The night the NBA realized the chosen one wasn't just hype, what if I told you the most terrifying thing NBA veterans had ever seen wasn't a 7-footer, wasn't a reigning MVP, but a teenager who hadn't played a single second of college basketball? Before the championships, before the scoring records, before the endless debates about greatness, there was a skinny kid from Akron carrying a burden no teenager should ever have to bear. The chosen one. Those 3 words appeared on magazine covers before LeBron James had even played an NBA game. To some fans, he was basketball's future. To others, he was the most overhyped prospect in sports history. The critics were everywhere. NBA veterans rolled their eyes. Analysts warned people to lower their expectation. Former players insisted the league would humble him quickly. They said high school highlights meant nothing against grown men fighting for contracts, legacies, and survival. This wasn't AAU basketball anymore. This was the NBA. A league filled with killers. And standing in the middle of that storm was a 9-year-old kid expected to save an entire franchise. The Cleveland Cavaliers weren't just drafting talent, they were drafting hope. A city desperate for relevance placed its future into the hands of a teenager. Imagine being told before your first day at work that if you fail, millions of people will remember it forever. That's exactly what LeBron faced. Every arena sold extra tickets because of him. Every camera followed him. Every mistake would become national news. The basketball world wasn't waiting to celebrate him. It was waiting to watch him collapse. But what nobody understood was this: pressure doesn't break everyone. Sometimes pressure reveals exactly who someone truly is. And LeBron James wasn't arriving to ask for permission. He was arriving to take his place. What happened next stunned veterans, silenced doubters, and changed the direction of the NBA forever. Before we uncover the night, everything changed. Let me know where you're watching from today. Drop your city and country in the comments because it's incredible seeing how this NBA community stretches across the world. And here's something fun. If you believe LeBron was destined for greatness from day one, press 1-inch the comments. If you thought the hype around him was simply too much to live up to, press 2. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications because the story you're about to hear only gets more unbelievable from here. The teenager they called the Chosen One was about to walk into his first NBA battlefield, and the league had absolutely no idea what was coming next. The debut that shook the veterans. On the 29th of October, 2003, LeBron James walked into Arco Arena with every camera in America waiting for him to fail. The Sacramento Kings were not a weak team. They were experienced, physical, organized, and built with veterans who understood how to expose young players. This was supposed to be the night the NBA reminded a teenager that high school greatness did not automatically translate to the pros. But from the opening minutes, something felt different. LeBron did not look nervous. He did not rush. He did not hide in the corner waiting for easier moments. He attacked. He passed like a floor general. He finished through pressure. He read defensive rotations like he had already been in the league for years. And every time Sacramento tried to speed him up, he slowed the game down. By the end of the night, the stat line was impossible to ignore. 25 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists, 4 steals. In his first NBA game against grown veteran on national television, that was not just a good debut. That was a warning. The league expected to see flashes. Instead, it saw control. The league expected raw talent. Instead, it saw a complete basketball mind inside a teenager's body. Veterans across the NBA watched that game and quietly understood something uncomfortable. LeBron James was not coming later. He had already arrived. The doubters inside his own locker room. The most shocking part was not that opponents doubted LeBron. That was expected. The painful part was that some of the doubt came from inside his own locker room. Before he ever played a real NBA game, some Cavaliers players questioned whether he was ready. They wondered if a teenager could really lead grown men. They wondered if all the hype had made people forget how difficult the NBA truly was. To them, LeBron was still just a kid, a famous kid, a rich kid, a kid with a Nike deal, a magazine cover, and a nickname that sounded bigger than anything he had actually proven. But basketball has a brutal way of separating opinion from reality. Once the games began, the talk started to fade. The same teammates who had wondered if he could handle the league watched him carry possessions, create shots, command defenses, and turn broken plays into highlights. LeBron did not answer them with anger. He answered with production. Every assist was a message. Every rebound was a reminder. Every drive to the rim said the same thing: I belong here. And by the time the Cavaliers started winning more games, the truth became impossible to deny. This was not a teenager trying to fit into Cleveland's future. He was Cleveland's future. The rookie season that changed Cleveland. Before LeBron arrived, the Cavaliers were almost invisible. They had won only 17 games the season before. They were not feared, they were not respected, they were barely discussed outside Cleveland. Then one teenager changed the entire temperature of the franchise. Suddenly, national TV wanted Cleveland games. Arenas filled up. Opposing fans came early just to see if the hype was real. And night after night, LeBron gave them a reason to keep watching. He became only the third rookie in NBA history to average at least 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. The other two names, Oscar Robertson, Michael Jordan. That was the company LeBron joined as a teenager straight out of high school. He won Rookie of the Month again and again until it stopped feeling like an award and started feeling like a routine announcement. The Cavaliers jumped from 17 wins to 35. That was not a small improvement. That was a franchise being pulled out of dark. And the most terrifying part for the rest of the league was this. LeBron was still learning. If this was his beginning, nobody wanted to imagine what would happen once he fully understood his own power. The night he broke the age records, every superstar has a game where people stop calling it potential and start calling it reality. For LeBron, that moment came when he began tearing down age records like they were paper signs. Youngest to score 30, youngest to score 40, youngest rookie of the year. These were not empty headlines. These were historical markers. They proved that LeBron was doing things the league had almost never seen before. Then came the 4-1 point explosion against the New Jersey Nets. This was not a meaningless game against a soft opponent. The Nets were experienced. They had been deep in the playoffs. They knew how to defend stars, but LeBron made them look unprepared. He scored, he created, he controlled the rhythm, and with 41 points and 13 assists, he sent a message to every veteran who thought time and experience would eventually slow him down. It did not matter how much film they watched. It did not matter how many schemes they built. LeBron was already seeing answers before the defense finished asking the question. That night, the NBA did not just witness a great rookie perform. It witnessed the birth of a problem that would last for 2 decades. When veterans tried to break him, the NBA of the early 2000s was not soft. Veterans talked. They pushed. They fouled hard. They tested every young player who came in with too much attention. And LeBron had more attention than anyone. So the test came quickly. Players tried to bump him off his spot. They tried to talk in his ear. They tried to embarrass him, frustrate him, and remind him that reputation meant nothing between the line. But LeBron never gave them the reaction they wanted. He did not shrink. He did not lose control. He absorbed the contact and kept coming. That was what made him so dangerous. Physical pressure did not scare him. Mental pressure did not confuse him. The noise around him only seemed to sharpen his focus. Veterans expected a teenager who could be rattled. Instead, they found a player built like a forward, moving like a guard, passing like a point guard, and thinking like a veteran. That combination was unfair. The old methods did not work. Trash talk became fuel. Contact became opportunity. And every time someone tried to humble LeBron James, they risked becoming part of his highlight reel. When the stars stopped seeing a kid and started seeing a threat. At the beginning of LeBron James' NBA journey, the league's biggest stars treated him the way most veterans treat highly promoted rookies. They respected the attention, but not necessarily the player behind it. After all, they had seen the next big thing before. They had seen prospects with magazine covers, shoe deals, viral highlights, and impossible comparisons. Most of them faded once the real NBA hit them. But LeBron was different. Allen Iverson understood early that this teenager possessed something rare. It wasn't simply athleticism. Plenty of players were athletic. It wasn't just court vision. Plenty of guards could pass. It was the complete package. LeBron could overpower smaller defenders, outrun bigger defenders, and make decisions under pressure that veteran point guards struggled to execute. Then there was Kobe Bryant. Kobe rarely handed out easy respect. Every matchup against him became a psychological exam. Could LeBron handle pressure? Would he back down against one of the most ruthless competitors basketball had ever seen? He never did. Even when Kobe scored difficult shots, LeBron answered. Even when mistakes happened, he refused to disappear. Paul Pierce saw it too. Pierce was the kind of veteran who lived for confrontation. He wanted to test young stars, talk to them, bump them, and see if they were mentally strong enough to respond. But LeBron did not play like a rookie looking for permission. He played like someone studying the room, learning every weakness, and preparing to take over. Tracy McGrady also understood the burden. T-Mac knew what it meant to be a young wing with impossible expectations. But even he could see LeBron's spotlight was different. This was not normal fame. This was a teenager being asked to carry a franchise, a city, and the future image of the league. What shocked veteran stars wasn't that LeBron occasionally played great. It was that greatness became normal. Night after night, road game after road game, under cameras, under criticism, under impossible expectations, LeBron kept showing up. He was not just collecting highlights. He was forcing elite players to prepare for him differently. That is when the respect became real. The greatest compliment veteran superstars could give was not praise during interviews. It was changing their defensive game plan. It was putting stronger defenders on him. It was sending help earlier. It was telling teammates before the game even started that Cleveland was no longer an easy night. Slowly, The conversation changed. He was not that high school kid. He was not just the chosen one. He was not simply the future. He was becoming one of them. Only even they understood something the public did not. LeBron was not trying to earn a seat at their table anymore. He was preparing to build his own. And that was the moment the veterans knew the league had changed. Year 2 turned fear into reality. If LeBron's rookie season introduced him to the NBA, his second season terrified it. The rest of the league had spent an entire summer convincing itself that it had figured him out. Coaches studied every possession. Analysts searched for weaknesses. Veterans believed the element of surprise was gone. Now came the adjustments. Now came the sophomore slump everyone expected, except it never happened. Instead of slowing down, LeBron evolved. His scoring jumped. His rebounding improved. His passing became sharper. His efficiency climbed. He no longer looked like a gifted teenager learning through experience. He looked like a superstar discovering exactly how dominant he could become. Every night, defenses tried something new. Trap him high, force him left, hack the paint, go under screens, make him shoot, send a second defender early, but LeBron kept finding answers. He attacked faster in transition, he became more patient in half-court sets, he manipulated defenders with his eyes, he started controlling tempo like a veteran floor general twice his age. The scary part was not only his physical power. Everyone already knew he was a once-in-a-generation athlete. The frightening part was how quickly his mind caught up to his body. He remembered tendencies, he recognized coverages, he anticipated help defense before it arrived. He knew when to score and when to pass. He began turning ordinary teammates into dangerous options simply because he saw the floor before everyone else. At just 20 years old, LeBron became an all-star. Soon after, he earned All-NBA recognition. Think about that for a moment. Most 0-year-old players are still learning how to survive an 8-2 game season. LeBron was already being recognized as one of the best basketball players on earth. Then came the next leap. By his third season, he averaged more than 31 points per game while still carrying major playmaking responsibility. He was not surrounded by a perfect championship roster. He did not have endless spacing. He was carrying a team that depended on him every single night. Opponents entered games with one mission: make someone else beat you. And still, LeBron produced 30-point nights, triple doubles, late-game takeovers, full-court drives that made defenders look helpless. The teenager many people expected to collapse under pressure had become the pressure coaches dreaded preparing for him. Veterans stopped asking whether he belonged. Fans around the world adjusted their expectations again. The question was no longer, can LeBron become great? It became something much bigger. Are we watching the beginning of one of the greatest careers basketball has ever seen? And the most unbelievable part was this: he was still nowhere near his peak. How one teenager changed an entire franchise. Before LeBron James arrived, the Cleveland Cavaliers were not a feared organization. They were not a national attraction. They were not a team opponent circled on the calendar. They were a struggling franchise searching for relevance. The year before LeBron stepped into the NBA, Cleveland won only 17 games. 17. That is not just a bad season. That is the kind of season that drains belief from a fan base, empties seats, and turns a franchise into an afterthought. Then everything changed. Not slowly, not carefully, almost overnight. The moment LeBron put on that Cavaliers jersey, Cleveland became important again. National cameras showed up, reporters filled the locker room, fans who had ignored the team suddenly wanted tickets, road arenas became louder because everyone wanted to see if the teenage phenomenon was real. And LeBron kept proving that he was. What made his impact so powerful was not only the points, rebounds, and assists. It was the way he changed the mood of an entire organization. Teammates started playing with more confidence. Coaches had something to build around. Opponents no longer treated Cleveland as an easy stop on the schedule. That is what true superstar gravity does. It does not only improve the box score, it changes the way everyone behaves. Before LeBron, Cleveland was a team opponents expected to beat. After LeBron, Cleveland became a team opponents had to prepare for. That is a massive difference. One version of a franchise is ignored, the other is studied, and for veterans across the league, that was uncomfortable. Because Cleveland had not added a full dynasty overnight. They had not signed 3 superstars. They had not built a perfect roster. They had added one teenager, one player, one name, and suddenly the entire Eastern Conference had to pay attention. LeBron gave the Cavaliers something every losing team desperately wants, but almost never finds immediately: direction. When a franchise is bad, the hardest thing is not only losing, it is not knowing where the future is going. Every season feels temporary. Every roster move feels uncertain. Every draft pick feels like a hope, not a plan. LeBron changed that. For the first time in years, Cleveland had a clear identity. The identity was speed, power, vision, fearlessness, and the belief that no game was completely out of reach if number 23 was on the floor. Even when the Cavaliers lost, People could see the foundation forming. They could see the future taking shape, possession by possession. A drive to the rim, a cross-court pass, a chase-down defensive play, a fourth-quarter moment where LeBron looked too young to be carrying that much responsibility, yet somehow strong enough to handle it. That kind of presence lifts everyone. Role players run harder when they know a pass might find them. Shooters stay ready because LeBron sees openings before anyone else. Big men sprint in transition because they know he rewards effort. Defenders compete harder because they feel the building believe again. This was the hidden part of LeBron's early greatness. He did not only dominate individually, he made the entire environment more serious. Cleveland went from 17 wins to 35 wins in his rookie season. That kind of leap is not an accident. It is evidence. It shows that LeBron was already affecting winning before he had a perfect roster, before he had playoff experience, before he had fully developed into the player he would later become. And that terrified the rest of the NBA. Because if a teenage LeBron could nearly double Cleveland's win total while still learning the league, what would happen when he became stronger? Smarter? More experienced? More ruthless in late-game moments? That was the question every veteran had to think about. The Cavaliers were no longer just rebuilding. They were rising. And LeBron was the reason, the real lesson behind LeBron's rise. The story of young LeBron James is not just a basketball story. It is a story about pressure, expectation, and a teenager walking into a world of grown men while refusing to let doubt become his identity. From the outside, people saw the fame, they saw the magazine covers, the Nike deal, the nickname, the cameras, and the sold-out arenas. But what they did not always see was the weight behind all of it. Every mistake was magnified. Every bad game was questioned. Every comparison to Michael Jordan made the mountain even taller. Most players are allowed to grow quietly. LeBron was not. He had to grow in public. He had to learn while millions watched. He had to make mistakes with critics waiting to say they were right all along. That is what makes his early rise so remarkable. He did not have the luxury of patience from the world. He had to prove himself immediately, and somehow he did. But the deeper lesson is not that LeBron was talented. Everyone knew he was talented. The lesson is what he did with the pressure. He did not run from it. He did not complain about it. He used it. That is what separates great talent from lasting greatness. Talent can give you attention. Discipline turns that attention into achievement. Hype can open the door. Consistency keeps you inside the room. Doubt can hurt, but if handled correctly, it can also become fuel. LeBron's early career showed that respect is not something you demand with words. It is something you build through action. One game at a time, one season at a time, one challenge at a time. The veterans tested him because that is what veterans do. They wanted to know if he was real. They wanted to see if the teenager could handle contact, trash talk, pressure, losing streaks, road crowds, and the mental exhaustion of an NBA season. And LeBron answered without needing to tear anyone down. He competed. He improved. He stayed present. That is important because real greatness does not need to be loud every second. Real greatness is often patient. It is built in repetition, preparation, and the quiet decision to keep going when people doubt you. There is also a human lesson here. The players who challenged LeBron were not villains. They were competitors protecting their place in the game. And LeBron was not wrong for trying to take that place. That is the beauty of sports when it is at its best. Competition can be intense without becoming hatred. Rivalry can create greatness without destroying respect. That is why this story still matters. It reminds us that pressure does not have to break people. It can reveal them. It reminds us that young people should not be judged only by their age. It reminds us that doubt from others does not have to become doubt inside yourself. And it reminds us that the strongest answer to criticism is not anger. It is growth. Because when you look at LeBron's early years, you do not just see a young player chasing greatness. You see someone learning how to carry responsibility without losing himself. You see someone surrounded by noise, yet still focused on the next possession. You see someone who understood that legacy is not built by one great night, but by showing up again after the world has already seen your best and still expects more. That is the part many people forget. The hardest thing is not shocking the world once. The hardest thing is doing it again and again and again. LeBron had to wake up every season knowing that yesterday's greatness was no longer enough. The moment he scored 25 inches his debut, people wanted more. The moment he became Rookie of the Year, people wanted All-Star status. The moment he became an All-Star, people wanted MVPs. The goalpost kept moving, but LeBron kept moving with it. That is the mindset champions are built from. Not perfection, progress. Not avoiding pressure. Walking into it prepared, LeBron James walked into the NBA as the most hyped teenager basketball had ever seen. Veterans questioned him, analysts doubted him, fans expected the impossible. And somehow, he gave them more than they asked for. He did not just survive the league. He changed it. If this story inspired you, Make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with another NBA fan who remembers how unbelievable young LeBron really was. And before you go, comment below. Press 1 if you believe LeBron proved his greatness from his rookie season, or press 2 if you believe his real greatness came from how he handled pressure year after year.